Day 64, Nancy Guthrie is still missing. 1,500 hours have passed since her pacemaker received its required daily medication. And right now, the FBI is tearing through a barren stretch of the Arizona desert. They are tracking isolated cell tower pings across absolute dead zones. They are systematically clearing abandoned structures situated miles from any paved road. They are not looking for a survivor anymore. They are trying to decode a terrifying silence that has paralyzed Pima County for over 2 months. For 64 days, local police and federal agents have chased phantoms through quiet neighborhoods. Now, every available resource is funneling into this specific wasteland coordinate. We need to understand why this desolate grid is suddenly the focal point of a massive federal sweep. We need to know what the masked man on the security footage dragged out into the sand. I am John. At Evidence with John, we ignore the internet noise and we follow the forensic trail. The coordinates the FBI just locked onto in the desert will dictate the next critical phase of this ongoing manhunt. Hit subscribe so you do not miss a single update as this situation is moving fast. The clock is running out for an 84-year-old woman with severe medical needs. The desert yields nothing easily. The heat destroys physical evidence. The wind erases footprints. Yet the federal agents are there right now. To understand the extreme urgency of this desert excavation, we must trace the exact forensic timeline. We have to look at the exact events that pushed the FBI out of a secure residential street and into the harsh elements of the wasteland. It begins on January 31st. At 9:48 in the evening, family members drop Nancy Guthrie off at her home following a family dinner. She is seen walking inside her house. The front door closes. That remains the very last confirmed sighting of her. Hours pass in total darkness. Early on the morning of February 1st, the situation shifts from quiet to critical. Her security doorbell camera is manually disabled. Unseen motion is recorded just moments after the disconnection. By Sunday morning, the community realizes something is wrong. Nancy fails to appear for her regular church services. Family members arrive at the house to check on her. They do not find her inside. They find blood on the front porch. A massive local search initiates immediately. Patrol cars flood the street. 11 days later, on February 12th, the FBI steps in and releases a chilling piece of footage to the public. A man is walking near the Guthrie property. He is wearing a mask obscuring his face. He stands roughly 5'9" to 5'10" tall. He carries a distinctive black Ozark Trail hiker 25-liter backpack. He moves with cold and calm precision. He does not run away from the camera line of sight. He simply vanishes into the early morning shadows. Forensic teams test the blood found on the porch. The DNA analysis confirms a direct match to Nancy Guthrie. The masked figure with the heavy backpack instantly becomes the center of a frantic nationwide manhunt. The FBI elevates the reward for information to $100,000. The public focuses on the face they cannot see. That was the visible reality back in February. But what law enforcement quietly mapped out behind closed doors throughout March is the exact reason they are now digging through the sand. The search radius is rapidly expanding into completely hostile territory. Pima County is vast and unforgiving. Investigators are no longer simply knocking on suburban doors. They are executing massive grid searches through extreme desert environments. The focus has entirely shifted away from the immediate neighborhood surrounding the Guthrie residence. Federal agents are deploying a highly technical maneuver known as a cell tower dump. This is not a traditional visual search. This is a digital dragnet cast over miles of empty land. A cell tower dump collects every single ping from every mobile device that connected to a specific tower during a targeted time frame. The FBI is manually sifting through thousands of anonymous digital handshakes. They are looking for one specific anomaly. They need to identify a device that does not belong in that desolate area at that specific time. The suspect vanished into the dark, but modern behavioral patterns dictate that almost everyone carries a cellular beacon in their pocket. If the masked man carried a phone, the towers recorded his path. If he communicated with an accomplice, the digital footprint exists somewhere in that data. Agents are overlaying these digital pings with physical topographical maps. They are targeting highly isolated coordinates. They are sending tactical teams to clear abandoned structures left rotting in the desert heat. These are properties situated miles away from any paved surface. These are remote locations where a person could easily conceal a victim or hide a crime scene indefinitely. The sudden transition from suburban streets to the remote desert indicates a severe escalation in the investigation. It means the initial ground search yielded absolute silence. It means the tracking dogs lost the scent near the property line. It means the physical trail went completely cold on the pavement. The federal investigators are now relying entirely on invisible data streams bouncing off steel structures. They are mapping a ghost route through the sand. This digital forensics approach requires immense computational power and significant time. Time is the one asset this victim does not have. Her medical condition is a ticking clock. The desert environment accelerates that countdown exponentially. Extreme daytime temperatures and freezing nights create a lethal scenario even for a healthy adult. For an elderly woman entirely dependent on daily medication, the survival window is violently narrow. The search teams understand this brutal reality. Every hour spent analyzing data dumps in a lab is an hour lost on the ground. Yet they have no other viable alternative. The physical evidence left at the residence is completely disconnected from the current search grid. The digital cellular trail is the only tether connecting the driveway to the wasteland. They are hunting a radio frequency across thousands of miles of barren earth. But even the highest technology of the federal government stumbled over a deadly security flaw right at the original crime scene. The entire digital investigation is crippled by a single corporate billing policy. This is the specific detail causing absolute outrage among digital forensics experts observing the case. Nancy Guthrie had a modern security doorbell camera installed directly at her front door. It was designed to record motion and deter intruders. It functioned exactly as intended on the night of January 31st. The device detected sudden movement in the early morning hours of February 1st. The lens captured the crucial moments of the approach. The sensor triggered correctly. The hardware worked perfectly. Then the camera was manually disconnected from its power source. The footage of those critical seconds was never written to a physical hard drive. It was programmed to upload to a remote server. It never reached that destination. The system failed completely because the user account lacked an active subscription. The cloud storage feature was disabled by the provider. The video file capturing the exact moment of the intrusion was overwritten or instantly deleted by the automated system architecture. A multi-million-dollar federal manhunt is essentially flying blind because of a lapsed monthly fee. The masked suspect did not deploy a sophisticated cyber attack. He did not need to hack the local wireless network. He only needed to rely on a basic consumer trap. Modern home security creates a highly dangerous illusion of safety. The hardware is physically present, but the actual protection is locked behind a paywall. The attacker exploited this exact vulnerability. The manual disconnection of the camera is a deliberate and calculated act. It proves the intruder understood the layout of the property before he arrived. It suggests a chilling level of premeditation. He knew exactly where the lens was pointing. He knew exactly how to neutralize it before breaching the perimeter. The blood found on the porch confirms a violent struggle occurred shortly after that disconnection. The camera should have captured the face behind the mask. It should have recorded the license plate of a getaway vehicle. It should have documented the exact sequence of violent events that led an 84-year-old woman to vanish from her own home. Instead, the FBI has nothing but a disconnected piece of plastic and an empty digital folder. The absence of this video file forces investigators to rely entirely on the delayed cell tower dumps and one single piece of distant neighborhood footage. The contrast is sickening. The corporate system demands a monthly payment to preserve the only digital evidence that could save a life. This catastrophic failure of modern security forces a terrifying question. If there is no doorbell video, what exactly is the FBI basing their massive federal response on? What physical evidence are they holding close to their chest that justifies a $100,000 reward? There must be another piece of the puzzle they are refusing to show the public. If you use a cloud-based security camera, check your storage plan right now. Ensure your subscription is active and your data is actually saving. And if you find this forensic analysis helpful, leave a like to help the algorithm push this critical warning further. While the FBI analyzes cold data in a laboratory environment, the desert heat of Pima County is hosting a much more desperate scene. A group known as Madres Buscadoras de Sonora has crossed the border with a singular and grim purpose. These are mothers who have spent years digging for their own missing children in the Mexican wilderness. They do not wait for warrants or cell tower dumps. They are currently on the ground in Arizona, manually driving metal probes into the sun-scorched earth. They are looking for the scent of decay that official dogs might have missed in the shifting winds. This creates a massive point of friction with local law enforcement. Sheriff Chris Nanos has repeatedly urged civilians to stay away from the active search grids to avoid contaminating potential forensic sites. But for a family watching the clock hit 60 days, the methodical pace of a federal investigation feels like a death sentence. The tension between high-tech surveillance and raw human desperation is reaching a breaking point. Added to this chaos is the presence of at least 3 separate ransom notes sent to various media outlets. The FBI has spent weeks vetting these communications to determine if they originated from the masked man or a cruel opportunist. One individual has already been arrested for sending a fraudulent demand for money. This confirms that the case is being actively haunted by predators looking to profit from a tragedy. Yet the existence of other letters suggests a kidnapping for profit remains a primary theory for the investigators. If this was a targeted abduction, the motive must be anchored in something the public cannot see. A grandmother with a pacemaker is a high liability hostage. Taking her requires a level of planning that goes beyond a simple home invasion. The blood on the porch is the most disturbing piece of this physical puzzle. DNA testing proves it belongs to Nancy. This suggests the encounter was not a clean or quiet transition. There was a struggle at the threshold of her own home. If the goal was a ransom, the kidnapper now has a victim who is injured and lacking life-sustaining medication. Every minute the suspect holds her, the risk of a capital murder charge increases. The investigation is currently trapped between 2 conflicting realities. The ransom notes point to a calculated financial crime. The blood on the porch points to a violent and disorganized escalation. The desert search is the only bridge between these 2 theories. This deep contradiction is why the tension remains so high without a single break in the case. The invisible clock is still ticking, and the window for a safe recovery has effectively slammed shut. The authorities are maintaining a valley tone in their press briefings, providing just enough information to keep the public engaged, but withholding the most granular data. They are caught in a loop where every new lead only serves to cancel out the previous one. If this is a kidnapping, why has there been no proof of life provided to the family? If this is a homicide, why has a massive aerial and ground sweep failed to locate a single burial site in 60 days? The geography of Arizona is the suspect's greatest ally. The terrain is filled with old mining shafts and deep arroyos that can swallow a vehicle or a body and hide it from satellite view for decades. The FBI is fighting against the very earth itself. They are dealing with a suspect who chose a victim with 0 known enemies and a high-profile daughter, ensuring maximum national attention while providing minimum physical clues. The timeline remains a jagged line of unanswered pings and silent cameras. The investigators are still waiting for that one digital anomaly to break the pattern. They are looking for the moment the masked man made a human mistake. But as the sun sets over Pima County for the 64th time, the silence from the desert is becoming absolute. All eyes are now turning back to the original evidence, looking for the one detail that everyone missed in the first 48 hours. There is a specific item visible in the security footage that should not have been there. It is a detail that connects the masked man directly to the isolated coordinates currently under federal guard. The most chilling evidence remains the frozen image of the intruder himself. He is not a shadow. He is a physical presence standing 5 feet 9 inches tall with a posture that suggests total environmental awareness. This is the peak of the forensic mystery. We are looking at a man who carries an Ozark Trail hiker 25-liter backpack with the ease of a professional. This is not a heavy load for him. The bag is designed for rugged terrain and long hours on foot. It is the perfect piece of equipment for someone planning to disappear into the Arizona wilderness. Forensic analysts have zoomed into every pixel of this backpack. They are looking for specific wear patterns or unique attachments that could link it to a local sale. The way he wears the strap suggests he is accustomed to the weight. He does not slouch. He moves with a deliberate, rhythmic gait that indicates he has walked these desert trails many times before. This is the highest point of the investigation because it shifts the profile from a random opportunist to a calculated predator. He knew the camera locations. He knew the victim's routine. He knew exactly which backpack would allow him to carry the necessary tools for a breach and a rapid extraction into the sand. This level of preparation is what has kept him ahead of the FBI for over 60 days. He is not hiding in a city. He is living within the vast, unmapped folds of the Pima County landscape. The backpack is the tether. It represents his mobile base of operations. If he is still out there, that 25-liter pack contains everything he needs to survive while the rest of the world searches for a ghost. The silence of the desert is his shield. Every frame of that footage is being rescrubbed for a reflection or a stray fiber. The FBI is betting everything on the idea that this professional made one small human error. They are looking for a single frame where his mask slipped or a strap caught on a thorny branch. Don't forget to turn on your notifications. Evidence with John will dissect every new frame the FBI releases the moment it hits wire. The authorities are no longer pretending this case will have a simple resolution. They are being brutally honest about the current status. There is no suspect in custody. There is no confirmed location for Nancy Guthrie. The investigation is in a state of suspended animation. The FBI is still running massive data sets through their servers. The Pima County Sheriff is still fielding thousands of tips that lead to dead ends. The desert is still being probed by mothers who refuse to give up. We are in the middle of a high-stakes waiting game. The coordinates on the map are still under guard, but no one is celebrating. The two central questions remain unanswered and terrifying. Why was this specific woman chosen, and what is currently inside that black backpack on the desert floor? These questions are haunting the community of Tucson. They are haunting the family who still sits by a silent phone. We are invested in this because it represents the ultimate failure of our modern safety net. A grandmother is gone. A camera was blind. A desert is holding a secret that it has no intention of giving up. The target emotion here is not closure. It is a cold, lingering vigilance. We are left with the image of a masked man walking into the darkness, carrying a life in a 25-liter bag. The state of the case is active, but the hope is wearing thin. The FBI is still digging. The clock is still at zero. The sand is still shifting. There is a profound vulnerability in our modern safety net, and this case has exposed it with surgical precision. The primary lesson here is not about the shadows in the desert, but the systems we trust inside our own hallways. We have outsourced our security to cloud-based subscriptions and digital handshakes that can be severed by a single missed payment or a deliberate snip of a wire. A home security system is only as strong as its weakest link, and in Nancy Guthrie's home, that link was a corporate paywall. You must understand your own hardware. You must verify that your local storage overrides the cloud and that your power sources are hardened against manual tampering. We have seen what happens when the digital eye goes blind at the exact moment it is needed most. At Evidence with John, we do not just analyze what went wrong. We identify how to ensure it never happens to your family. This case teaches us that forensic science is a race against time, but home defense is a race against the first 10 seconds of an intrusion. Understanding the psychological profile of a predator who knows your blind spots is the first step in eliminating them. We are left returning to the central question that opened this investigation. What exactly is the FBI finding at those isolated desert coordinates? Is it a breakthrough in the cell tower data, or is it simply more of the vast, indifferent silence of Arizona? This is an ongoing investigation, and the terrain is shifting under our feet every single day. The masked man with the black backpack is still out there, and as long as he is, the threat remains active for every quiet neighborhood in the county. We will continue to track every ping, every forensic leak, and every update from the Pima County Sheriff's Office. When the silence finally breaks, we will be here to analyze the evidence. What do you believe was the true motive behind targeting a woman who required life-sustaining technology? Was this a calculated financial play or something far more personal and darker? Leave your theories in the comments below and let us build the profile together. Until the next update, verify your security, watch your perimeter, and stay vigilant. I am John.